Welcome back. Biden has been president for nearly a month, but according to a Politico article, his presidency doesn't start until now. That article on your screen claims that former President Trump has been dominating the start of this new administration.
Our panel joins us now for reaction. We welcome GOP and political strategist Julio Rivera. He's editorial director at the Reactionary Times. Also welcoming in Ana Paulina Luna, former Florida Republican congressional candidate for Florida 13th, executive director at APL-PAC and U.S. Air Force veteran. And finally, Democratic strategist Kelly Hyman joining us today. All right, so the gist of it here is with all the news outlets really covering impeachment trial, critics argue that Democrats have sort of used this time to distract from Biden's many executive orders. So Julio, I'll go to you first. Is that kind of how you see it?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, he's already put his stamp on his version of a transformative change of America. We've already seen executive orders that have, really killed jobs. We've seen energy independence for America go by the wayside. We've already seen, some of his executive orders pertaining to transgenderism and changing academic sports in schools. So basically, there's going to be a lot of failures and a lot of pushback to a lot of the early decisions that were made by Biden. I think some of this messaging from the mainstream media is to distract from that and to try to make it seem like a lot of the things, especially economically, are still the fault of either the COVID-19 pandemic or Trump's economy. But the truth of the matter is Joe Biden is firmly the president of the United States. He has been for almost a month, and he's made a lot of changes which are going to have ramifications for years to come in America.
Yeah, Kelly, it is hard to say that it begins today. I believe he had some 40-something executive orders in his first few weeks. The only person that can do that, President of the United States. I want to ask you about this. Many had said repeatedly that pursuing impeachment would further divide the country, and yet they did move forward with the trial. It ended with an acquittal. No one second-guessed that would happen. Kelly Hyman, what are the repercussions, if you will, of pushing for that impeachment in the Senate?
I don't think there are going to be any repercussions. So the American people got to see, and the Senate came out. That's what they're supposed to do, either convict or not convict. And as we all thought, there wasn't going to be 17 Republicans that were going to support the conviction. But now we can move past it and move forward and hopefully unite this country together.
That's very optimistic. I'm hoping that the American public will look at it the same way, even though I do have my doubts, of course. We'll see how long it takes for people to move past this and come together. But let's talk about the future. Today, President Biden will be in Wisconsin for a town hall event. He's also expected to sort of make the case for his COVID-19 bill. We know he could face some serious challenges in his attempt to sort of gain Republican support for his proposal, especially including that $15 an hour federal minimum wage requirement. Ana Paulina, just react to this if you don't mind. We're kind of seeing Joe Biden again stepping into this role as president, no longer focusing on the impeachment of a former president who's out of office. What do you hope to see during Joe Biden's official start to his time as president?
I mean, in actuality, I think it's been very evident over the last month or so that Joe Biden's plan for coronavirus was President Trump's plan for coronavirus. And moving forward, I'm hoping that we'll see, a reopening of the economy. One thing that I think a lot of people can agree on is that what happened with COVID and how many people literally a day after President Biden was inaugurated decided to all of a sudden reopen the economy. There are a lot of people who are suffering across this country economically. And I think one of the best things that we can do for this country is, again, reopen the economy and really follow Florida's lead on the coronavirus response. But again, like you had said earlier, it's been very evident that, after 50-something executive orders that, they're just now saying that it is, him now taking presidency. But it's been very evident that they've been pushing a lot of things down the pipe early on.
I'll go to Julio on this one. You may find this interesting. Curious to hear your thoughts. In a CNN article on the typical day for Biden, again from CNN, there's mention of him going to bed quite early, being very busy next to a fireplace. Here it is for you to see. It says he has expressed a preference for a fire built in the Oval Office fireplace and sometimes adds a log himself to keep it going. His dogs, 2 German Shepherds called Major and Champ, sometimes join him. Question here, where's the sense of urgency? Thousands of Americans dying, over 400,000. He's building fireplaces and buying bagels.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the energy disparity between sleepy Joe Biden and President Trump is evident right there. And I mean, just in saying that, this guy needs nap time, like he needs to have his day monitored like somebody who would be in a nursing home. And it's funny, too, because I remember Trump on the campaign trail half jokingly saying, sleepy Joe doesn't know that he's alive. But I mean, listen, ultimately, he has a lot of things that he needs to, prioritize at the forefront, which is the economic issues. You know what I mean? And basically, it was mentioned before by Anna Paulina, all these millions of Americans that are suffering and are never going to get their businesses back. They're going to have to file bankruptcy. It's destroyed countless families. And the fact that all these Democratic governors and a lot of Democratic politicians and policymakers and thought leaders immediately after Joe Biden was sworn in said, hey, let's open up the economy, shows the disingenuousness of them as far as their COVID response. They didn't want people to stay home because they wanted to save lives. They wanted the economy to be destroyed, and they wanted it to try to, to stick that on Trump as if it was something that he did wrong. So his legacy, instead of being the greatest economic president of all time, which is what he went into 2020 as, is destroyed as, somebody who was president and presided over the most bankruptcies in history.
All right, we're out of time on this block here. I'll hit you the next one here, Kelly Hyman. Julio Rivera, Anna Paulina Luna, you guys stick around. More to cover.
Talking about this, we showed you how excited Trump supporters got after the former president surprised them outside his home at Mar-a-Lago the other day. Well, now we're going to show you a new poll revealing just how popular the former president remains among Republican voters. Stay with us.